Hey, how's it going? I am gonna read you some cards. If I can ever get my stuff to stop falling over, I'll try to fix that situation while you please take a look at my signs. So that's not a very good view, is it? Maybe I could be still. There will, very likely be notes in the info box for this video, so that's almost always the case. Depending on what platform, come on now. Okay, depending on what platform you are watching this on, you may or may not be able to see that there is accompanying text for the video. So I'm letting you know. Okay. Okay. So, there, I guess, is no way I'm gonna do this without interruptions, because I've just been trying to kind of have a plan here and stick to it, and it was that I was gonna do this earlier, but I got overwhelmed by the need to just go to sleep, so I went and did that for a while with the intention of coming to do this when I woke up. And so I couldn't just wake up naturally, so I got woken up, tried to go back to sleep a couple of times, got woken up again by my roommate, the cat. And so I got up finally to do this, and he does this thing, the kitty, where he'll just be bothering me to go in and out and in and out. I know it's not unusual that they'll do that, the cats or the dogs or the kids, whatever it is that does not want you to acquire any type of meditative state. So we'll just see how it goes. I guess I said all of that to just say that I expect to be interrupted again. So I pulled cards from all three of my decks, and I'm also gonna talk. Wow, I better stop like stalling or whatever I'm doing, because I don't want to take forever. Okay, so Easter just passed. It's now Thursday, so 4 days ago, whatever, you know what I mean, last weekend. And in the lead up to Easter, not on purpose, I just began to have like a pretty pointed interest in the Essenes, because I've mentioned this before. I was reminded, like, I know the name, or you know, I've heard it. Like, I mentioned my Catholic upbringing that went for several years as far as schooling, which was like an intensive of, you know, Bible training, basically, or learning. Oh, well, I don't know, maybe that was not a slip of the tongue. Sorry. Anyway, but I was young, and so there were a number of things going on in my life. For one thing, that my attention would be on rather than what I was being taught, rather than the lesson a lot of times. But that doesn't mean it didn't get in. In fact, I was thinking about how much I know I was deliberately trying to tune it out, so I could think about, like, the book in my bag, just like, you know, going, you'd rather be reading me, wouldn't you? And just other stuff, like, not anything bad, but just I had stuff on my mind, like projects, or just thinking about other people, other places. Just kind of, I wasn't wanting to be there a lot of times. I don't know why I was. Never mind. So the but I think even when you do that, particularly when you're trapped in the room and you're forced to be quiet unless you want to get some sort of physical punishment, because in those days in California they were still allowed to just beat up people's kids, well, not beat them up, but corporal punishment they called it, and they could like spank you. But with my Catholic school, that could be like a ruler on the knuckles, or sorry, not a ruler, a yardstick, or you get a yardstick to the back of your thighs, or even I can't believe I use this like seriously, but where is there it is, the little thing I call my indicator. I call it the indicator because, goodness gracious, you couldn't even call something that looked like a pool cue with a piece of chalk stuck in the end a pointer. That was, you could get some sort of physical injury for saying that wrong, so it's just kind of ironic to me. I was not one of the ones that suffered like any kind of SA in my Catholic school, but they were like quick to hand out the beatings. That's all I want to say on that. So anyway, I just think it's ironic that I call it that particular thing. And why the hell am I talking about that? Oh yes, Catholic school. So yeah, you couldn't like leave. So even if you were actively trying to tune it out, then they regularly would check you too, like to make sure you were paying attention. Like you had to, sounds terrible. You had no choice but to kind of pay attention. But it was kind of like Shakespeare, like the language and the, oh my God, the concepts that you were supposed to like metabolize from this stuff. Like I had no reference for, like it was just, I was out of my league at the time. So like that stuff has been in there, but I haven't looked at it in a long time, So I'm like refreshing my memory, I guess, or getting more of the story too, because to a degree they do give you like, at least at Sunday school, or well, classroom instruction too, they did give it to you kind of on a level. Well, that's not true, because I was gonna say they give it to you on a level you can handle, like you could kind of comprehend, but I was just saying I didn't get it. So, but I don't think it was the instructor's fault. I just think it was the material. Like, no one talked like that. The things that the people were doing, and it sounded like a story. Like I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books, children's books when I was a kid. Like it just sounded like another story. So it was hard to know what to do with, I guess. So I've just been getting all this stuff about the Essenes, and it's bringing all this other peripheral stuff to it back. Like all of this stuff is, not saying it's cascading in like all clear and detailed, but like, oh wait, that story, I kind of remember that, and like the connections. And the whole thing I do remember is like everything is connected. So the Essenes were like where Jesus, or the people that Jesus went to like mystery school with. At least that's how I know of them. They have stories of their own that are in the Bible, but I'm particularly, for some reason, focused on, not for some reason, I know why, on the Jesus stuff. And it's probably because of his training with the Essenes, and through them he traveled all kinds of places and studied like theology basically, and he went to like India, and he has the nickname in some circles of the I guess Buddhist. Now I can't remember the Buddhist Messiah. No, there already is one of those, so that's not it. Maybe it'll come to me as I go on. But they got their concepts and precepts through study of lots of other cultures and their spirituality. Can't believe I'm blanking on this, because this is like the important part, like where Jesus went during his missing years in the Bible, and he like wasn't missing. And I think a lot of the stories in there indirectly point to where he went. So I don't think he was missing. I don't know why they say that, unless it like came out in like the Dead Sea Scrolls or something, which is instruction from the Essenes that they were storing, like, and it worked. They put them in those clay containers, and like, I don't know if they were buried, but that's where they were stored, and they've been unearthed in recent times. And so what is there is a lot of why Jesus's views were shaped, their views were shaped, and their beliefs, their system of beliefs. And like I said, like, it's very different now from then. And also I'm in a different culture. So anyway, it's just like, I feel like they were so intelligent about their belief system and spirituality. I didn't study it in detail until recently, and so I'm still studying it, but I like the cut of their jib. Because they are there's a lot of compassion and kindness to it, and acceptance, and because of their beliefs, they had to be kind of isolated in a way. In fact, they were almost completely exterminated, but they had to go underground, and then they showed up again and were called Gnostic, or are called Gnostic. So, and that's, well, the root word is gnosis, which means knowledge, and I believe gnosis is Greek. Ancient Greek? I don't know. I am not sure. So, it just also was interesting that it all came up around Easter. And also, what I didn't put together until I started like noticing all of this stuff, and it even happened before the Gaza or the Israel Palestine sadness that's happening right now, and that is that the Essenes were in Palestine. So a few pennies dropped there. It's like, oh wow. I mean, it's not like I wasn't paying attention to that. I hesitate to call it a war. I feel like it's a lot. I don't know, the people of Palestine. I don't know how. I don't know that. I feel like there's people in there like speaking and doing for them that they don't necessarily have control over, but they're such a diminished minority in their own land, and it's just like they couldn't be Essenes. They got like run out of town and almost killed all the way off. I haven't gotten quite to finding out what's up with the Gnostics, but since you don't hear a lot of talk about that, what would you call them? Religious group these days? I mean, I don't. Not that like that's my whole area of study, or that I have one even, but I don't know what happened to them. I feel like they're not around today, except for like small isolated clusters of just people that know about it. I don't know. But I think I saw somewhere that they got run out of town too, and not they were not invited nicely. They were not invited to go. They were forcibly urged because of their ideas, and that's, I feel like, what is happening to the people of Palestine today. And you can get a pretty clear view of the Israelis and what they're doing. Hamas and Palestine is way more muddy, but from the looks of it, they're doing stuff that's inviting a pounding from Israel onto Palestine, and not everyone is going to be a revolutionary and trying to kill other people or an insurgent or whatever kind of name. Like, some of those people just are families, and oh man, they've just Palestinian people, I guess, have just had such a rough time of it. And so, you know, Easter is about rebirth, everything, resurrection. And that does seem to happen to, like, Palestinian people. They get almost exterminated and resurrect. So I have a good feeling out of chaos is going to come order eventually. And I hope this is the last time those people have to go through this. That's insane. I mean, stuff has happened to a lot of people, like black people in various places in Africa and America and the Caribbean, and I mean, stuff happens. I want to say the other word. And also to Jews. So I'm just mystified still. Like, why are you being so violent and aggressive and uncaring? And I mean, I have to clarify or make sure you know, people, that I'm talking about the government and not like the citizens of Israel any more than I'm talking about the citizens of Palestine. I feel like I know they've been victims. It's just been on the news in various degrees of horrible my whole life. But it makes me wonder why they don't have more compassion. Like, you really want that property so badly. Creeping capitalism crud. Anyway, that has been on my mind a lot. And I guess for this, I pulled this number 29 card from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. And it's horned cactus, and the subtitle is resourcefulness. And so I'm thinking of those Palestinian people, like, my goodness, just to keep staying alive, they got to be resourceful. And I'm sure some take up with the Hamas cause because they, want to be able to retaliate, if only to kind of protect their own physical interests, stop coming over here and killing us, basically. It's been going back and forth for so long. It's who cares who's even to blame anymore? I think everyone's kind of lost sight of that. Or maybe they haven't. Maybe they're better studiers of history between those places. But I feel like a lot of it's got to do with religion, and I'm sure both of those. I know Islam is be peaceful, but so many in my lifetime, I guess, have been pushed to not be, and that's kind of just been the answer for so long. But in the case like the Palestinians or even Ukraine, pretty much anywhere that was in Russia's reach, they tried to get that Soviet sticky finger all over, and that didn't go over so well, and people are actively no thank you. Ukrainians, it's just kind of the same situation. Russia's just trying to capillary action bleed into Ukraine, and then also be aggressive and violent about it too. I mean, the similarities are so similar. In both cases, though, if you're gonna live through this situation, you got to be kind of horny, hard-skinned. And I always have thought, I wish I had this ability. I wish I would think of it when you have those questions every once in a while on social media. That would be if you could have any superpower and they give you choices. And I never really want any of them. I don't really want to know what's happening unfiltered from people's minds when they're looking at me. I don't think, because they know that they can't hear you. Or they can't be heard usually. So they're just going to say whatever it is, and I don't want to know. I do not want to know, thank you. And invisible would be kind of interesting, but then you're just kind of always spying on people, so I don't think I really like that either. Flying, sure. Okay, so that's what I usually end up picking. But what I would really like is, did you see I guess there's two now. So the first Beetlejuice movie, when Alec Baldwin, I can't remember the character's name, but Alec Baldwin bends over to pick up Beetlejuice from the model home. You have to see it. And Beetlejuice doesn't want to get picked up, so he just all of a sudden busts out in spikes, just grows some spikes like a cactus. And those spines, it's not gonna save you from war. I feel like it's more the metaphor of, if you're there on either place, Palestine or Ukraine, and there's munitions landing on you, developing a thick skin and it's not gonna save you. But if you don't get hit, I mean, to stay human and forgive these people for basically destroying your life or your family or whatever it is, that you survive. If you don't want to be what just happened to you, what spurred the initiative to treat other humans that live nearby you that way, yeah, I mean, it's a metaphor. But there's also those of us that are taking part as witnesses, and the way we think and feel affects the situation in a lot of ways. I mean, right now, President Biden is catching hell, I guess you'd say, from his own voter pool, Democrats and people that don't want to vote for Trump. We're pissed. I mean, I haven't taken any action, and I don't know if pissed is even the right word anymore, because I've just started to look at it all so differently. But yeah, he's catching hell because a lot of us want him to do more, but I mean, hi, we're just the allies, you know. I know that, I mean, it's well known that Israel has a lot of, like, their war stuff from us, like, you know, a lot of the war machine companies are based here. And whatever, we're scratching each other's back in more ways than I know. So there's obligations, but you know, we don't have to have an ally that's basically sabotaging us too, which is, like, I don't know what Netanyahu thinks he's doing, pushing us the way he is. Like, he's getting more and more brazen, and I'm just like, whose ally are you now? I'm confused. So, okay. I also pulled 2 cards from Shaman's Dream, nope. The Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And they are the hawk and the turtle, and they're, where is my indicator? Air sign, air element, and so hawk, bird. But for thoughts and ideas, okay, and then turtle, and that is the symbol for the water element. Thoughts and emotions, thoughts and prayers. See, in order for anyone, like, on the ground there at either place, either site of conflict, and also, like I started to say, for those of us looking on, we really have to see, like, our way, I was gonna say our way to see, like, what is actually happening there, but that right now that's almost impossible. I mean, what does come out gets spun, I think, depending on who's reporting it, and that kind of thing happens. But what is clear is that there's too much useless death, and I feel like in that situation, from a sky view, from a bird's eye view, you could possibly see the objective that is talked about pretty brazenly, and it makes it pretty clear that people are going to do what they are going to do, what they have to do. I hate that. We did what we had to do, because you know that always means somebody's going to get killed. So a lot of somebodies are going to get killed because it seems like what they have to do is make way to get to the dang beach, and that is just sick. So what I see most clearly is just death that does not have to happen, is my feeling. And then with this, I get, like, it helps with the resourcefulness. It helps with the resourcefulness if we can draw upon, like, especially for the people on the ground, if we can draw upon our knowledge of, you know, right and wrong, like, and, you know, people are allowed to protect themselves, or they should be. I feel like in Israel, every effort is being made so that the native Palestinians can't do crap hardly to stay alive, to protect their families, to get out there. Like, it's crazy. I mean, do you see that? It seems to me like they closed every exit and like put IEDs along the way, and I don't know about the wisdom of doing that, because when you come out of the other side, aggressors, it's already not a good look, okay? And it's probably not a good idea to get too emotional about it, because then I would think, especially in those hot zones, that it would be difficult not to flow right into irrational anger and wanting to revenge and retaliate. But something like a turtle, whoa, will have been around for a long time and have seen some things, and it may question the wisdom of just the senseless violence, especially to get something that you want to wrench away at any cost from some people that have been there a long time. Those Palestinians have been there. You can look it up, like literally in the Bible, or I'm sure it's in the Torah. I'm sure there's some stuff in the Quran. So I also pulled some cards from the Lightseer's deck. They're tarot cards. And this card, Five of Pentacles. Okay, so you see that there's pentacles on the door, and pentacles are like money, or having to do with money. And on a Rider-Waite style tarot deck, this is what you'll see pictured. And it's two people. They're kind of messed up, injured, and poor, it looks like, outside the church. And if I'm gonna go just beat you over the head obvious with it, it's like the mega church kind of deal. And they're not really known for shutting people out and pushing them away, because that's the bread and butter. That is where the mega comes from, the tithing and such. Oh my God, some of these guys lately, I believe the two I'm going to reference have both been picked up for like larceny or something. But they were literally saying, what, you don't love me enough to give me money so I can buy a jet or a watch? And they're both black, and I don't know why the white one, Hagee, I think is his name, the guy that, he's so weird. He has a couple of hype men for his sermons. But he'll like do this laughing thing, and it's like he looks like a Muppet. His mouth opens so wide, it's bizarre. Or like, what is that? Those characters from Canada on South Park, Terrence and Phillip. That's how his mouth looks to me. Like, does this laugh, and it's like this. I don't know. He is not a follower. He doesn't practice what he preaches, I don't think. Except I think he is one of those ones that preaches for money, because he has a fleet of jets, private jets, which are so good right now. Definitely burn up some atmosphere. And okay, I don't want to get on that soapbox, but private jets not good. So I mean, for me, the moneyed churches are like not good. No es bueno. So bad. Like when that's the total focus. And so this person is locked out and they're sad, but I'm like, don't be sad. There's nothing good to be found in that kind of church. But that's what my little book says kind of about this, that it has to do, well, here, let me read you what it says. It says, the 5 is symbolic of financial hardship and feeling isolated. Although it is traumatic, it is only temporary. See, okay. And that's pretty lifey. You don't really need any kind of divination to know that we got peaks and plateaus in life for reasons, life blueprint reasons. But what I was getting, or I have seen somewhere, and that explanation or definition of this card works for me in this moment, and it is that this person, despite their shabby, poor look, is rich in spiritual power. Like, it looks like she's sad, but maybe she's just gathering herself literally in the shadow of this place because its light, like I said, its light is like artificial. And I guess that is like, you have these two like peoples that go back to like biblical times, and has nothing changed. But see, things I think will change. So what's happening with everybody that's in these situations in both of these places that have a lot of fighting and dying going on the soil, they're co-creating with us, each other. It's like, even though it's shocking and unbelievable in ways that I kind of enumerated earlier, at least for me, it is, again, with the life blueprints, like something that everybody kind of did sign up for, like specifically came here to planet Earth to do whatever you do with the life that you have, even if it doesn't come to be, like you don't make it out of the womb, you still have an impact. And so that's what is happening there. And why? Well, the thing about war is it's usually someone and some other someone's like an aggressor, and like, oh, we'll be happy to supply you with weapons to slaughter people. Let's have that exchange as well. But the one I started off talking about, this is meant to be more of a in the heart type situation for the rest of us, because also part of that transaction is the co-creation, and the reason for doing it is what we get out of it. And so there's all kinds of things that have led up to it. Like, really, it's such a beautiful construction if you think about it. All of the little arguments and sides taking, just if you're an individual and you're like, oh, this side over here is doing this and saying that, and then this one over here is doing some things kind of similar, and wait, why am I in the middle of it? Do I even have to participate? I mean, I think to some degree we all participate. Like, deciding not to participate is participating in a way. And by participation, I mean the degree of consciousness or attention that you're giving to it all. I think it's probably best not to become obsessed with it, and there's been a lot of taking it personally, and I'm kind of honestly mystified by how passionate people are about the size that are saying whatever they're saying. That I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to, because for me it's more about stop killing each other, work out your differences some other kind of way, and don't like cut off life from people. That's like so rude. I'm sorry, but it is. Like, you can't use your words. You're all supposed to be educated in the government levels. Well, in other countries, not here anymore, apparently. We'll just take anybody. I remember when Obama was running for president, and there was like a black guy in Florida, I think, or maybe South Carolina. And I think he still lived with his parents and maybe in the garage, because like he was running for president in opposition. It's a black guy. Today he probably would have gotten tons of money. This was like pre-Joe the Plumber, I think, or after, somewhere around there. But that was a crazy, wacky time. Why did I start talking about that? I don't know, politics is weird. So, I would imagine we got this Two of Wands card, and usually, well, I mean, I guess this is a going someplace, like metaphysically or metaphorically, some meta something. But usually it's about like projecting to some time that you're like building up to, that you're looking forward to. I think this one might be this time more about loss. A lot of like memory. I don't know. Well, I guess I'm getting memories, so it's like memories of times. And I had pulled this card, I think yesterday too, or the day before, and I saw these pool cue looking things, and I for some reason I went with like martial art staffs. I don't think they're pool cues. Usually they don't have a bunch of stuff on them, and that looks like it's carved, like it looks like it would screw with your grip, honestly. But it does remind me of, they are the wrong size, I think, but if you've ever been to something like a dead show, there's the guys that juggle the sticks, or the people that do. They're not shaped like that. Like, these are pool cue looking things. I don't know what's up with them. It's probably, they're on here, but I'm gonna say it's probably not important right now. But yeah, I just feel like the whole Six of Cups feeling of nostalgia here, but that is a happier memory looking thing. Like this, it almost looks like she's watching the end of a nuclear explosion, although she probably wouldn't look so hot sitting behind glass like a bug under a magnifying glass in the sun, which she'd be pretty desiccated if that's what she was actually looking at. But maybe it's just a feeling, you know, like there's a whole, like the floor and the bottom half of whatever is happening outside that window looks flamey. So I'm wondering, like, is it memories of fires? I'm not sure, but loss definitely is what I'm feeling there. And so we have some choices beyond this. Yes, there's disagreement. There's, I mean, disagreement to the point that people are killing each other. And sometimes, like I said, in some cases, it's not even that. It's more of like, I want what you have, and I don't care there you have it. And that's not new in the world. Hi, it's happened here in the US many times. Like, we just love to clobber each other. I'm thinking of Ukraine and Russia right now. Like, I feel like it's less strategic, although it would be strategic, but it's more about just like taking over for the sake of taking over, like one last hurrah, for both of the leaders of the aggressor countries. Russia and Israel are not young guys. I feel like, and I have even had thoughts, like, on occasion in the past, I don't do it anymore, where I'm just like, I don't care about who comes after, like, I can just do whatever I want now. But I got out of that mindset just because it's nothing like all woo mystical about it. I just think it's a dick move for people that are coming after you. Like, what's it gonna kill me to conserve if I can? It's really not that painful. So I don't know, I guess you move through stages. But at any time, really, we can change the world. We can, though. I don't know if it's appropriate to mention this, but this symbol right here popped into my head when I was meditating yesterday, and I am not sure of the name of that particular sacred geometry. I think it is, so I don't want to get it wrong. But I have to say, I'm just going to hold it up so you can look at it, because it's a line drawing. But when I saw it, it was yellow. The points on the spires were slightly rounded. It looked like it was made of rubber. It looked like a dog chew toy. Okay, so I mean, if you get a look at that, it's like all of these straight lines. But it could also appear as a three-dimensional circle. And then the other thing it looked like was like a virus, like some kind of a virus. And so this young woman in a dress, she's wearing a rainbow, which is, I mean, you could take it as like pride, or you could take it as just like an earthly, or a earthly wonder, because it's a manifestation of light refracting. But that is like a, just on its face, very uplifting, happy, and spiritual. Like, I don't know anybody that sees a rainbow and goes, fuck that thing. Like, I've never heard that. So I don't think that's a thing. But it's a general happy and uplifting, this card. And also, I just noticed that it's a circle with a dang peace sign in it. What is this yellow line coming down into her head, and these two other yellow lines that look like they intersect with the straight line that's inside the circle? What are those lines making there? A peace sign. So I know that's the world I want to live in. That's the world I want to project. And so a lot of times everyone is not on the same page to the naked eye. But if you kind of take the whole picture into perspective and shine a light in the darkness, and then take your knowledge, and if you have to go deep, like in your mind, in your meditation, to find that place where, let's just say you place yourself way down in the deep, away from all of the noise and explosions, so to speak, so you can think about things clearly and calmly. Then that will give us all that would like to see a positive future in the world happen. This is throwing caution to the wind. You could say leaving it in God's hands. But also you could say faith, because you're just going to trust and believe that everything I just said is going to serve you. Like, you know, if you feel like peace is the thing that's going to happen, is the way to go, then hold on to that. Vibrate that, emit that, share that. I think that while people that are not on the same page are here sometimes, they're not all the time. Because here's the thing, a lot of times you'll hear, oh shoot, I need to hurry up and finish. You will hear that we're so separated, we're so divided, this country is apart. But, and listen, I go to a Walmart where it's like Trump land in the parking lot, but everyone I talk to in the store is usually, and even if they're rude, they're still super nice. There's only been 2 times when I've met someone that I figure probably came out of one of those cars, because they were both just kind of jerks. Opinion commentary. Please excuse my opinion. But everyone else I've talked to has been super nice, super cool, super friendly. It's like, yeah, we can too talk. Like, I don't know, like the Civil War stuff. People want to believe some crazy stuff. They want to listen to some moneyed interests that tell you stuff, but it's artificial, it's not real, it's an upside down Bible. It's a Bible sale to pay your legal fees. So, but you know what? You can be above all of that. You can see what's happening. You can witness what's going on and not take it personal, and remember that this is a co-creation. Everything we experience is an exchange, and whatever happens. Like, that's just the case. So we can go ahead and fall off the cliff and feel safe in knowing that, especially in faith, that whatever happens, like even if you die, you can come back. The package might get damaged, but the contents will remain intact. Thank you and good night.